Good day, everyone. My name is Spencer Cado, and today I will share with you my topic about constructionist reading model. So, the constructionist model is conceptualized by Grazer and others in the year 1994. This was proposed to explain the factors that constrain the inference processes that support comprehension during reading. That is to say, that this was proposed to look at what hinders the process of inferencing of the learners during reading to fully comprehend a text. In this model, deep understanding is achieved through active, constructive processes that have been characterized as search for meaning, comprehension, known as the backbone of cognition, is the processing of information to extract meaning. This model advocates student-centered discovery learning, where students use what they already know to acquire more knowledge, such as the term search for meaning. So there are three assumptions of the theory that define a search for meaning, and these are coherence assumption, explanation assumption, and reader goal assumption. So we will go through these assumptions one by one. Let's first have the coherence assumption. For the coherence assumption, it specifies that deep meaning is achieved when readers construct situation models that reflect both local and global coherence. This assumption can be in line with problem-based learning. Problem-based learning can be more effective when learning activities are related to larger tasks or to the real world. This is important because this allows students to see that activities can be applied to many aspects of life, and as a result, they, they find the activities they are doing useful and purposeful. So that is for coherence assumption. Next, let's have the explanation assumption. For this assumption, it specifies that individuals have a drive to seek explanations for events that they experience. Um, Reflection on the content being learned should occur so that students can think through the process of what they have learned. Next assumption is the reader goal assumption. It specifies that readers construct representations that are consistent with their comprehension goals. An authentic task should be designed for the learner. This means that the task and the learner's cognitive ability have to match the problems to make learning valuable. This way, the readers can construct representations between what they have already learned to what they will learn in the future. So that is for the reader goal assumption. The model can be aptly thought of as describing a highly motivated, strategic reader who routinely engages in goal-directed, effortful processing during comprehension. The model specifies inference and evaluative processes that support comprehension, and this places the model in quadrants A to C. For these quadrants, we have prepared, or we have here a representation of a plane. In this plane, we have two lines. The horizontal line represents the strategic or skilled comprehension processes, whereas the vertical line represents the difficulty of the text. And there are four quadrants, and these are quadrants A, B, C, and D. Now, The four quadrants here describe the scope of comprehension situations to be accounted for by comprehensive comprehension models. Comprehension will tend to be best in quadrant A, where um, where the difficulty of the text is high and the strategic process of comprehension is also high, and it is worse in quadrant D, where the text of difficulty of the text is low and the level of strategic comprehension is also low. It is likely to be more superficial and thematic in quadrant B, where it does not really tend to happen, and dominated by a text-based level of understanding in quadrant C. Now, it was said that the constructionist model falls under quadrants A and C. That is to say that the model, even if the difficulty of the text is high or low, will tend to have a high level of strategic comprehension process. This is partly because the constructionist model builds up on top-down reading model, since it makes use of inferencing and prior knowledge to search for meaning. Furthermore, it conceptualizes search for meaning as an evaluative process that operates on information that is available to the memory by the process of memory-based retrieval. For the quadrants B and D, I think this can relate to the bottom-up model, since in the bottom-up reading model, the parts of the topic is given to the learners by the teacher, or in other words, it might be spoon-fed to the learners, whereas A and C can be related to the top-down reading model, since the top-down reading model makes use of inferencing and prior knowledge or schema. If the model is conceived as also describing what happens when the three reader assumptions fail, then the model might be said to describe comprehension across all four quadrants. That is to say that the model, the constructionist model, will apply to all four quadrants if the three reader assumptions, the coherence, explanation, and reader goal assumptions will fail. However, there is little specification in the model as to how comprehension will vary as a function of the reader's adherence to these assumptions. In conclusion, constructionist model is considered to be the most applicable model to the study of comprehension in authentic educational settings. It is these contexts where researchers strive to understand the factors that influence readers' drive for the search for meaning and to identify ways to help struggling readers learn how to read strategically. Now, a question would be, what is the role of the teacher in this reading model? Well, the teacher takes on a mediational role rather than adopting an instructional role. That is to say, that the teacher's role is not to be a lecturer, but a facilitator who helps students to attain their own goals. That is all for my report. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me directly. Thank you.